Hello everybody and welcome back to another one of our 7-star Terra Raid preparation videos. Today, or I think actually late last night, but today for me, when I saw it, Nintendo, or I guess the Pokemon Company, announced that we're going to be getting a Hisuian Samurott 7-star raid. We've seen Samurott in 7-star raids before, but this Hisuian one is a first. It's very cool. It's keeping up the pattern of we had the Decidueye first, and we had the Typhlosion. Now we're getting Samurott. We've got the whole trio now. Hisuian Samurott, it's worth noting, adds on the dark typing to Samurott's just basic water typing. Of course, it does lose that with the Terra type, which is going to be pure water, but it still keeps that extra little bit of stab bonus it gets on those dark type moves, so keep that in mind while you're building. But again, it doesn't have any weaknesses of the dark types. You're not going to be able to hit super effective with your fairy types, your fighting types, or your bug types. So keep that in mind as well while you're building your Pokemon. But again, it can hit pretty hard with those dark type moves, namely its signature move that you'll see up there, Ceaseless Edge. It can do quite a bit of damage with that. When it comes to abilities, Hisuian Samurott gets a fantastic ability in Sharpness, which increases its power for its slicing moves, such as Ceaseless Edge, such as Razor Shell, as you'll see up there. It might run Torrent. I'm going to say I'm 95% sure it's going to run Sharpness, so definitely prepare for that. If it runs Torrent, it's honestly just like a worse ability, so you don't really have to worry about it a whole lot, but I can almost guarantee it's going to run Sharpness, so be ready for that. Of course, being a pure water type, once it terastallizes, it's going to be weak to only grass and electric Pokemon, so our sets kind of focus on that. And again, this Hisuian Samurott is going to be from November 23rd to November 26th, and then November 30th to December 3rd, so you have 2 opportunities to get this Pokemon. You can only get to one, of course. It's a 7-star Pokemon with the Mightiest-Mark, so 1 per save file, but it shouldn't be too bad. You can definitely grind it out for some extra experience candies and stuff. Let's get to moves real quick. We got quite a few up here. This Pokemon gets quite a few nice moves. I'm predominantly expecting this Pokemon to be a physical attacker. Its special attack stat is comparable to its physical attack. I think it's just behind by 8 points. But this Pokemon gets a lot of really good physical attacks and not super many great special attacks. There's a few up there that you can see, namely like Ice Beam. But I expect this Pokemon to really hit hard physically and kind of neglect, if used at all, its special moves. At the top there, we got Ceaseless Edge. That's its signature move. That's a dark type move. And it's moderately hard. Again, it can still be getting that stab bonus despite being a pure water type. So keep that in mind. Razor Shell is there as well, gets a nice bonus from that water typing, as well as that sharpness ability. So this Pokemon's going to be hitting hard with that Ceaseless Edge and that Razor Shell. I kept that in mind while building these sets, so these should still be fine. Swords Dance up there for that little bit of extra physical attack if it needs it. And of course, Mega Horn for coverage on those grass types you might bring for this. Mega Horn is a very powerful move, so kind of be ready for that. Drill Run, also a pretty powerful move. It hits those electric types that you might bring for this Pokemon pretty hard. It's a ground type move, of course. Focus Energy, if this is anything like the previous Samurott, the like Unova one, I guess, it might use this to increase its crit ratio, be able to hit harder. You got Rain Dance as well, for that little bit of extra water type damage, which I could definitely see them bringing. Being able to hit like a truck under that water Terra type with that sharpness, with the rain, with those razor shells, you could do a lot of damage. Ice Beam up there for coverage. Again, I'm not really expecting this thing to be a special attacker, but if it's a mixed attacker or anything, that Ice Beam will probably be tacked on there for those that extra grass coverage. At the bottom, we have 3 other moves to note that I'm not necessarily expecting, but they might throw at us. Blizzard, Aerial Ace, and Avalanche, all kind of coverage moves. That Avalanche there is a physical ice move, but it's a pretty low base power, so even if this thing is a physical attacker, I'm not expecting to see it, honestly. Aerial Ace, again, another good coverage move, as well as Blizzard. Blizzard doing quite a bit of damage and hits everyone on the field with a very low accuracy, so if this thing's going to run a special ice move, I probably expect it to run Ice Beam instead. I thought I'd throw it up there, though. It is a pretty powerful move, so it's a good idea to keep in mind that it does get that. When it comes to our set still, let's get right over to them. Our first one here is Cacturne. Cacturne obviously being very weak to that Mega Horn, so if this thing's running Mega Horn, maybe don't bring Cacturne, but this is a fun little set. I really like Cacturne. I really wanted to get some use out of him, so you know what? I threw him in here. You notice he's holding a big root, which is definitely an interesting item. I haven't really seen this on any other Terra raid builds ever, and that Terra type Fairy should definitely stick out to you guys. I was just talking about how Fairy types aren't going to be hitting super effective, but that's not really what this Cacturne's made to do, as you can see here. When we go over to its movesets, this Cacturne is kind of a support Cacturne. You're really going to want to be pressing your cheers. You're going to be pressing that helping hand you can see there on this Cacturne to help your teammates do some damage. That Water Absorb ability means this Pokemon is not going to be hit by water type moves, and instead going to heal with them. So if a Samurott for whatever reason throws a water move at you, you're able to just get a little bit of extra health and not lose any, which is very nice. When it comes to nature, you're going to want to do a minus attack up defense nature, which I believe is bold. And when it comes to IVs, everything matters except attack. And then when it comes to EVs, you can see your max out HP and defense. Again, this is a defensive Pokemon. You're not doing damage with this. You're kind of going for a support type Pokemon. That Leech Seed there for that little bit of extra the healing you can get from that, as well as that Giga Drain for a little bit for the charging of your Terra Orb and doing a little bit more damage. Sunny Day is really your big like support move. You can use Sunny Day if your friends have any like ancient Paradox Pokemon, you can use that. Helping Hand is really what you're going to be pressing. You want your teammates to be doing a lot more damage. So really, once you start using your cheers, press that Helping Hand button once your teammates have set up, and you can, double their damage output practically. This Pokemon is meant to just kind of last on the field, be able to get some cheers out, be able to get some helping hands out. You're really not doing damage. Don't really press that Giga Drain unless it's an absolute last resort, I'd say. And of course, that Fairy Terror type there is for once you finally reach the Terrestrialization, if for whatever reason you press those Giga Drains, you can Terrestrialize to Fairy. You're still resisting those dark moves, you still are resisting those dark moves. And of course, now you don't resist the water moves, so if the AI is not smart enough, it might start throwing them at you, and you can get a little bit of healing out of it, which is kind of nice. And then, of course, you do resist the Mega Horn with the Fairy type too, so if you can somehow get there and it has Mega Horn, you'll be just fine there. Moving on to our next set, another Grass Dark Pokemon, as you can see here. This one is Terra-type Grass, so this one's going to be doing a bit more damage. We got Brute Bonnet. You're going to want to give it the Shell Bell. Brute Bonnet is a Scarlet exclusive, I believe, so definitely keep that in mind, Violet players. Unfortunately, you can't use the set. Take a look at its stats now. We're going to max out HP and attack and pour that little bit of extra into, I believe I did defense. With Cacturne, I threw it in special attack, I want to say, so forgot to mention that. That little bit of extra might help, Photosynthesis has its only ability, of course, and then when it comes to moves, this is definitely an interesting set. It's kind of a mix between support and damage. You're going to want to run Clear Smog for, if in case that Hisuian Samurott runs that Swords Dance. You're going to run Sunny Day for that photosynthesis boost to not only you, but any of your teammates, and getting rid of that Rain Dance is definitely beneficial just in case this thing sets it up. Synthesis will help you even more in that Sunny Day, it'll heal you even more, and then Seed Bomb is your main damaging move. I'm not really loving this set, if I'm being honest. If you're going to run a Grass Dark Pokemon, I definitely would recommend Cacturne instead. But just in case Brute Bonnet's like your favorite Pokemon, here's an alright set to use. Brute Bonnet can take hits moderately well. Assuming you're not getting hit by Mega Horns, you can probably live a few. And then, of course, Clear Smog to clear those stat boosts. You can Sunny Day, so it's doing even less damage to those water moves, stuff like that. So keep that in mind. Seed Bomb, again, your main damaging move. But really, this Pokemon is kind of a mix between support and damage. Definitely get some use out of those cheers. Once the sun's up, you're going to be able to do quite a bit of damage, because I do believe attack stat is the highest. Yes, it is. So you're going to be getting that photosynthesis boost to your attack, which is nice. And again, getting rid of that Rain Dance is really this Pokemon's main priority, as well as using that Clear Smog button to clear those Swords Dancers in case it sets up. Moving on to our next Pokemon. When it comes to IVs, everything matters except special attack. But moving on to our next Pokemon here, one a lot of people should have. It is a starter Pokemon. We got Mightiest-Mark, another Grass Dark Pokemon, our third of the set. So again, Mega Horn is scary for these three Pokemon. If the Samurott runs Mega Horn, which it's moderately likely to, maybe don't use these or find some other way around it. You're going to want to give this Pokemon the Shell Bell. And when it comes to stats, you're going to max out HP and attack, and put a little bit of extra into defense there. Everything matters except attack when it comes to IVs, and you're going to actually give it the Overgrow ability instead of Protein there. Honestly, that's kind of up to you if you want to run Protein. It might be a little better if they're running Mega Horn. Overgrow, however, keeps that Dark and Grass typing, which is good because it resists both Dark and Water moves. Again, Mega Horn might take you out in one hit, so be a little careful with that. This Mightiest-Mark is kind of just made to be a pain for the Samurott, for lack of better terms. We're going to be running Flower Trick as your main damage dealing move, and Chilling Water as a little bit of like a debuff move on that Samurott. It's going to be lowering its attack stat, so if it's not getting any critical hits, it's going to be dealing even less damage. Then you got Mud Slap and Double Team. Mud Slap hits charges your Terror, which is very nice, as well as Chilling Water, and lowers the Samurott's accuracy, so it'll be hitting a little less with those Mega Horns. And Double Team does the same, but to you, so if for whatever reason you run out of Mud Slaps, or you're just feeling like you want to boost your own evasion, press that Double Team button instead of Mud Slap. Mud Slap is probably better, though, because it does charge your Terror Orb. And then again, Flower Trick is your main damage dealing move there, so once you get to that point, definitely start pressing that. This Mightiest-Mark, assuming he doesn't have Mega Horn, is a pretty good set, and it's a pretty accessible one, too, being Sprigatito. A lot of people have one of those, so definitely see this one getting a moderate amount of use, especially if there's no Mega Horn. If it is Mega Horn, Samurott, definitely maybe run Protein instead and change quickly to a type that doesn't take super effective damage from any of its stat moves. I can't think of one off the top of my head, like maybe like Water, I guess, doesn't take super effective from anything, but that's obviously up to you. If it's running Mega Horn, maybe stay away from these Grass Dark Pokemon. I didn't notice I had 3 of them till just now, but that's all right. Moving on to our next Pokemon. This one should seem pretty familiar if you've been playing these 7-star raids for a while. I remember using this Lurantis for, like, I think Slowbro a while ago. No, I used Slowbro for something else. I used this Lurantis for, I think the previous Samurott, actually. I don't know why I thought of Slowbro. You're going to want to run Terra-type Grass on this and give it the Shell Bell for that little bit of healing. These are the moves. It's definitely an interesting set. You're going to run Contrary, which is its hidden ability. It's a little hard to get, as well as a Modest Nature. When it comes to stats, you're going to want to max out HP, almost max out special attack, put a little bit in defense. I don't remember the exact numbers, just kind of, do a lot in the special attack, a little bit into defense. I'll say like 212 in a special attack, and then the remainder in defense, I think, is kind of what I did. Contrary, again, as its ability, makes it so when any stat changes happen in this Pokemon, they actually like are inverted. And that plays into that Leaf Storm that you see up there. Its main damage dealing move, Leaf Storm, Synthesis, Grassy Terrain, and Sunny Day are its moves. Pressing that Sunny Day can help you deal. Well, actually, that doesn't really help you at all, but it helps your teammates, assuming they're the Paradox Pokemon from the future. As well as getting rid of that Rain Dance that Samurott might set up is definitely pretty useful. It also charges your Synthesis more, so you'll be healing more once you press that button. That Leaf Storm there, you only have 8 power points, so be a little careful with that. But of course, every time you use Leaf Storm, your attack will be sharply, or your special attack will be sharply raised because of that contrary ability. So every time you press it, it'll get even stronger, which is very, very nice for this Pokemon. When it comes to IVs, max out everything except attack. That doesn't matter at all. And I think that's all for our Lurantis here. Moving on to our next Pokemon, we've got our Iron Hands. Iron Hands is back. He was here even last week for the Eevee. Great raid Pokemon. You probably already have one of these built, although this one's a little different. You're going to run Terra-type Electric here, as you can see. Normally a little different from the normal fighting, or the typical fighting type, I should say. Terra type there. You're going to want to give it the Shell Bell, of course, to heal a little bit more with its damage. When you see its moves, you're going to want to run Thunder Punch, Focus Energy, Electric Drain, Belly Drum. Belly Drum, of course, being Iron Hands is like signature raid move. You press that, start dealing a bunch of damage with that Thunder Punch up there. Focus Energy, of course, giving you that critical hit ratio boost, which is very nice. And in case you're rocking with a bunch of other Iron Hands, you got that Electric Drain if you want to be a team player and boost everyone's physical attack there. You take a look at the stats, you're going to see we're going to max out HP and attack with a little bit of extra into defense there. When it comes to IVs, you care about everything except special attack, and of course Quirk Drive is its only ability. This Pokemon is very self-explanatory. You press Belly Drum, you press Focus Energy, you start Thunder Punching, the Shell Bell should heal you. If you've got other Iron Hands on the field, it might be help if one of you press that Electric Train button. Just get to Terra as quickly as possible, press that button, and just start dealing a bunch of damage with those Thunder Punches. You should be healing quite enough with that Shell Bell there, so don't worry about that too much. And moving on to our last Pokemon. This last one pairs actually really well with Iron Hands, as you can see here. We're going to run Miraidon. Last week we ran Koraidon for the Eevee, and now we get to run Miraidon, which is very nice for those Violet players out there. You guys get a little Lake Break, I guess. This is probably one of, if not the best build for this raid, so I definitely recommend this if you have access to it. You're going on Terra-type Electric, which is very nice because the extra Miraidon you can get in your game has Terra-type Electric already, which is awesome. It's guaranteed to have that, so go catch that in Area 0 if you can. You got that Shell Bell held item, of course, that very typical raid held item. When it comes to stats, you're going to max out HP and special attack, put a little bit of extra into defense, and then IVs, everything matters except attack. Attack doesn't matter what it is. Hadron Engine is its only ability, which puts Electric Train on the field. That's why it's very good with Iron Hands, and gives it a nice little boost to its special attack. When it comes to moves, you're going to see Charge Beam, Parabolic Charge, Electric Drift, and Reflect. Reflect is just kind of there because we needed a fourth move, honestly. If this thing is not going for crits or not going for Brick Breaks, that Reflect will be very nice because it, help your teammate live a little longer. That Charge Beam is a great way to start the match. You can press a few Charge Beams to charge your Terra Orb, and then you might get a small special attack boost if you use one of those. I think it's like a 75% chance, so it's not guaranteed, but it's a pretty high chance. Parabolic Charge is kind of like Giga Drain, but for electric types, it's a very good move for your survivability on your Miraidon here. And then Electro Drift is its big damage dealing move. I save those for once you're finally terrestrialized, you start pressing Electro Drifts, maybe Parabolic Charge or Charge Beam up until you get to that point, just for that little bit of extra healing or stat boosting. This Miraidon is a great raid Pokemon. If you can build this Miraidon, I definitely recommend it for this raid. But that is our last set today, so I'm going to call it here. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. Make sure to build one of these Pokemon for one of these upcoming weekends when we're going to fight this Hisuian Samurott. Hope to see you guys out there in Terra Raid Dens, and good luck. Have a good day.